people and formed the society. And from that, the place grew to what it is now. Well, it wasn't very successful in New York because it was very charismatic Christian, and putting in ideas of something that wasn't a straight Christianity was, well, suspect. Time moves on. So eventually they decided on certain objects for the society. And the first object is the furthering of human brotherhood without distinction of race, creed, sex, caste or colour, that we are all one people, never mind now anything else. Because this is what is dividing people so much, because they come from a different, because they're black or brown or yellow or white or whatever. We must accept all people as one. And of course, their religion is different, well, it doesn't matter. They're putting themselves in a little group and want to believe in one way only. And this is one of the things that creates a lot of problems. We do the same thing, of course, with politics. Or you belong to this political party, or you belong to this religious group, and so it goes on. And you put little walls around, and we divide the world up. The second object is to encourage the study of comparative religion. Now, it's not with the idea of proving that any one religion is the only true religion, but that behind all the religions there are certain basic spiritual truths that belong to all religions. As a very easy example, a Christian calls God Jehovah. Islam calls him Allah. They're talking of the same thing, it doesn't matter. But of course, it means another means of segregating themselves. Of course, in the study of religion, you try to understand how other people are thinking. And if you come to know a bit about their religions, you find that there are certain things which is common to them all. Of course, a lot of them have been organised by man, of course, to believe things this way or that way and so forth. And, well, be careful he's a Jew, or be careful he's something else, or whatever it may be. And so, hopefully one day we can break all this down. Philosophy, of course, is another matter. Here we come into a very big field, and we can ask ourselves, well, what is the relationship between myself and all this I see outside here, and way up there in the night sky, and all this down below us? How does it all fit together? Well, you are certainly going to have to either put it aside, as some people do, and say, well, it's too much for my little brain, and others will try and think about it. They turn to different religions for their answers, but they can't get the answers they're really seeking very often. Science, of course, is interested in what everything is, how is it made, and so forth. And of course, everything. Oh, we meet again, do we?
Yeah.
Come and sit down and have a listen in. We met this gentleman a little while back, down under the banyan tree. These people are from New Mexico. This gentleman's from Germany. Are you living in Germany?
Yes, again.
Yes. So, well, I just covered briefly the first object of the society, the furtherance of human brotherhood, without distinction of race, creed, sex, caste or colour. So we accept all people as one people. We're thinking about the various religions, basically behind them, there are certain basic spiritual truths belonging to them all, but man has organised it in different ways. In fact, I had a man here last week, and he walked around, he looked around, and he came up to me, he said, "From here down is all wrong." I said, "Oh, what's wrong?" But I said, "Well, which is right?" So he said, "This one, the Christian religion is the only religion." I said, "Oh, is it?" I said, "Are you one of them?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Which branch of the Christian religion do you belong to?" He said, "What are you talking about? He said, "There's no branches." "Oh," I said, "Well, are you a Roman Catholic?" And he put his hands up straight like this. "Oh, no, I'm a Protestant." I said, "Well, you put a war up straight away between yourself and a group of people. Do you talk to Seventh-day Adventists and Mormons and a few others?" Well, of course, he ran out the door. He didn't want to hear any more. Well, that's all right. People have got to sit down and think why our world is in the state it is in. So, we can move on now to the third object, the investigation of unexplained laws and the powers latent in the human being. Well, we all know, or we should do, I have a lot of fun with very young groups when they come. I start talking about laws to them. And I said, "What happens if I let go of this?" Because they always say, it falls down. So I said, "No, it doesn't fall down," because they insist that it does. And no, the law, we're talking of laws, the law of gravity pulls it down. If it wasn't for the law of gravity, we'd all be floating in space. I wouldn't need to pay 20 million to go for a ride into space. But there are lots of laws we're not aware of. Why do we not have the same fingerprints on everyone? We all have our individual mark. Because now science found DNA and proved this even further. And of course, so it opens a new field. Every tree out there has its DNA pattern, and its seeds will reproduce the same kind. The little ant running along, yes, he has the life force in it. Yes, everything has life in it, even the glass. But the level of consciousness in an ant is very low, very small, shall we say. But the little dog hopping along, well, he has the same life, but he has a higher level of consciousness. So we go right on through the whole. Everything has its pattern, everything has the life force in it. The dead leaf falling off the tree is not dead. It's merely a shift of the life force from being a leaf, falls down, and it becomes Mother Earth. When the old bag of bones here is finished with this here, which, well, the physical body is made from the things we eat and drink. And when I'm finished with it and I walk out of it, well, it'll either be buried or cremated, depending where I am. If I'm in India, they want to cremate me. Doesn't matter. The bones and the ashes or whatever's left goes into Mother Earth. The smoke goes up, comes down in the rain, it all finishes. Everything is recycled in the whole of the cosmos. We have to think cosmically, because where are all these universes, where are they going to? As far as I can think, they can only be going out into space. Whether there's an end to space, well, heaven alone knows. Or maybe it does, or maybe it doesn't. So, what are the powers latent in the human being? This is our next big question. A lot of people think we are referring to the psychic powers, like clairvoyance, clairaudience, being able to see spirits, and telepathy, all those. But those are powers that everyone has, but they are largely undeveloped. And they can be developed. two main systems. One is by the practice of spiritualist seances or mediumship. The other is by the practice of hatha yoga. Now both of them will arouse the psychic forces in the body. But when one opens oneself to the psychic forces, well, one opens oneself to fields of which they have no knowledge and of the dangers that are attached to them. The real power we are referring to in the society is the ability of man to stand back and look at himself and ask the age-old questions. Who am I? What am I? What am I doing here? Why aren't I somewhere on some other planet or some other place altogether? And why in this form? Why aren't I in the form of a tree or a cat or a dog? So you open up a very large world before you. Of course, people, when they start that, they start looking around at religions or various isms. A lot of them take up some form of yoga or meditation with a certain degree of success, and in many cases they find certain types of those things are often dead end. So it means in the end, where are you to find your answers? Well, you can find today in bookshops umpteen books on all this type of thing. But in the end, you have to come back to yourself and know what is happening inside yourself. We're not talking about physically, but mentally, emotionally and spiritually. How are they affecting us and affecting the way we live and what we think and do? Well, when we get involved in that, we have to become aware of the life forces around us and that we are part of it. The man the other day said, the life forces? I said, yes. How do you know you're alive? Oh, well, he said, I can breathe. I said, well, that's a good idea. Keep it up, because if you stop breathing, you'll soon find out what you aren't, or what you are not, and what you might become. But you've really got to stand back and look at yourself and consider the way you think. How are my actions going to affect other people? Do my thoughts or do my emotions affect other people? Well, they do, but we don't always know. Of course, if someone comes up to you and he starts shouting at you and laying down the law about something, and tries to make you feel about this big, well, naturally you don't feel very happy. But of course, is there any need for us to go around and do the same thing to other people? You see, we are then working on the negative side of life with all that type of thing. You can be walking along the road and you see someone coming towards you, you know, and you think, oh, we'll call him John Schmidt, doesn't matter what his name is. I don't like him. I won't say good day to him. No way. But of course, every time you see that person, animosity arises within yourself. Anyone you don't like, you feel that animosity. And of course, animosity is a mild form of hatred. And you can develop along those things if we hold on to them. As the Gita, Bhagavad Gita says, non-attachment, let go. Don't hold on to greed, to animosity or hatred or let them all go. Of course, a lot of people find it very difficult. But so we poison our systems with our thoughts, we poison our outlook on life, we get a distorted view of life. You see, everything as Madame Blavatsky, the Secret Doctrine says, everything in the whole of creation is locked in a network of action and reaction. I had checked some time back. He said, I don't believe that. I said, oh, don't you? I said, well, how do you get water? Well, he said, it rains. Oh, he said, it's good. I said, so? But I said, look at it this way. How long since you studied science? Oh, I said, it's quite a long time. I said, so we have H2, hydrogen 2. Put it with oxygen. I said, then you get water. So there's an action, putting these together, and the reaction is water. And of course, because everything has a pattern, and obviously operates to a law, of course immediately people then of course come back to the religions. Well, a lawmaker. But do we have to have a lawmaker? Because the ordinary, everyday, workaday mind works on positive and negative, black, white, hot, cold. If there's a beginning, there's an end. If there's an end, there must have been a beginning. And so, gradually over the centuries, the ideas of God were developed. Because somehow or other we've got to think of how could all this just be? Well, you can spend a lot of time on puzzling around about that. And gradually you become aware that there are certain forces at work in the world that direct people's thinking. But of course, as one man came in to me one day, he said, all these religions you've got here all around, he said, what religion are you? I said, well, it's a personal question. I will answer it though. I said, it doesn't worry me. I do not have a religion. He was shocked at that. He said, you don't have a religion? I said, no. I said, because I realize that behind them all there is certain basic things. And man has classified them into different little groups. Anyway, he wasn't happy with it. He went away and he came back after 10 minutes. He came and said, but you must have a God. I said, which one? Which God? I said, there's 10,000 names in Hinduism, 999 in Islam. Where do I go from there? Anyway, I said, why? He came back again. He said, you must have one. I said, what for? He said, to pray to him. I said, oh. So to ask him to do something? He said, yes. I said, such as what? Make you good or virtuous. I said, all right. I said, we're thinking now of some great and wondrous being who's behind the whole of the cosmos. And you're going to go to this and say, now look, big God, I want you to make me good. I said, do you know what he's going to say? He said, no. I said, he's going to say, make yourself good. That's the only way you're ever going to progress, is to learn to change yourself for the better. People could do that in the world, things would not happen. Anyway, so it goes on. He came back again. Later on he said, you must have something. I said, well, if you like, I have. I said, I look out here, I see life in manifestation in a multitude of forms. From the tiniest little plants right up through the insects and all the little bugs and beetles inside me that I don't even know are there unless I get sick. I said, did you ever study the Bhagavad Gita? And he said, oh. But I said, Krishna says, there is no end to my manifestations. I said, take the word Krishna out because you personalize. I said, put in that word life. Our own planetary system is part of the Milky Way, but in that universe there are other solar systems or planetary systems with them. But there are other cosmoses, which also have their own systems, a multitude of them. And these universes are moving away from each other, presumably out into space. Or else? Where else? Science is getting worried about black holes in space. Things are disappearing in there. But lately, there've been one or two small pieces in the papers and so forth, but some things have been coming out of the black holes. What could that be? Well, everything is recycled. The leaf is recycled. You bury the body, it returns to mud and becomes Mother Earth. You see, there is no death. There's only a shift, or a shift of consciousness to a different level. We do it all the time. We push a button, we want to be BBC. Push another button, you want Deutsche Welle, or you want something else. It's all there at a different frequency. So, this is going on all the time. When you shift out of the physical body, well, you find yourself at a different frequency of manifestation. We learn a lot of things. We are taught a lot of things. And this is where a lot of our problems occur. So, as I say, we need a parallel path, which I call the path of unlearning, where you find, as you start thinking about things, there are some things it's better that you throw them over your shoulder because they're holding you back from seeing a greater vision. Because, well, this happens. It certainly does. If you are fixed on one way of thought, you are not interested in another one. So you hold yourself back from enlarging your outlook. Gradually, what we have to learn to do is to develop the big vision, the bigger vision. You take, we have these little jigsaw puzzles and give them to children. They have to put them together. They can't put them together unless they have seen the big picture. And people are trying to put life together. Well, they can't do much about it until they've started to learn about the big picture behind it all, what is there. So, of course, it's a never-ending job, thank goodness, because there's always something interesting.
That's great.